Today we're in Ouddorp, a small village located in the province of South Holland. If I stood here 86 years ago, I would be standing under 4 meters of water because 86 years ago, something terrible had just happened. Today's video is about the Delta Works, the Dutch response to the rising sea levels. Before we can talk about the Delta Works, we first need to talk about what caused the build of this gigantic structure. On the night of the 31st of January to the 1st of February 1953, the biggest Dutch natural disaster of the 20th century unfolds. Via the North Sea, a 1,000-kilometer long windstorm makes landfall along the Dutch coast. Through a combination of the storm and spring tide, an extreme storm surge rapidly approaches. The Netherlands is still unaware of the impending disaster. Once the northwesterly storm reaches its peak, the dikes no longer offer protection. Water deluges the country at more than 150 locations throughout Zeeland, North Brabant and the south of Holland. The suffering is unprecedented. And then, to make matters worse, a fresh tidal surge strikes in the afternoon of the 1st of February. The consequences are almost impossible to comprehend. The flood cost 1,836 people their lives, tens of thousands of animals drowned, and caused major damage to buildings, infrastructure and agricultural land. After the flood of 1953, the Rijkswaterstaat constructed the Delta Works to prevent recurrence. The disaster reminds the Dutch of how important it is to protect themselves against high water levels. After the North Sea flood of '53, the Dutch government quickly authorized a study to assess their flood defenses. An old plan, called the Delta Plan, first conceived in the 20s and 30s, was quickly revived. And scientists and engineers set about providing a long-term plan to minimize future risks in coastal areas. What emerged was a plan to drastically reduce the length of dikes exposed to the sea by 430 miles or 700 kilometers, comprising of dams, storm barriers, dikes and levees. The Delta Works is not simply one project along the northern region of Holland. A 13 major projects, along with countless small additions such as locks, sluices, dikes and levees, were constructed or improved upon in between 1954 and 1997. Nowadays, the Dutch are very well ahead of the game. The Delta Works is the largest flood protection system anywhere in the world. It's even considered one of the 7 wonders of the modern world according to American Society of Civil Engineers. The first stage of this project, known as the Delta Works, began in 1954 with the building of the stormvloedkering near Krimpen aan de IJssel. An area that had been partially affected during the flood of 1953. For the next 47 years, construction didn't cease.
But although the initial building has been completed, this is a project that will never be completed due to the impact of climate change. But there is one big problem.
20% of the country's land mass lies below the average sea level, with 50% being 1 meters or less above it, including some of its most populated areas. The Oosterscheldekering is the big boy of the Delta Works and its most iconic site. The 9-kilometer dam stretches from the island of Schouwen-Duiveland and Noord-Beveland. It was not only the largest addition to the project, but also the most expensive at 2.8 billion euros. It was originally designed as a closed dam, but due to public pressure regarding the marine life in the area, they decided to change it. They changed this so that the dam now has 4 kilometers of sluice gauge, which are mostly kept open. The dam is formed of 65 concrete pillars, each between 35 and 39 meters high, and they weigh 18,000 tons. In between these pillars there are metal doors that can be opened and closed depending on weather conditions. These doors are 42 meters wide and take about 80 minutes to close. According to the Dutch law, the water level must be 3 meters above normal sea level for the dam to completely close its doors. Since the opening, this has happened 27 times, which the last one happened on the 10th of February in 2020 when Storm Ciara rumbled upon the Netherlands. On the 4th of October 1986, Queen Beatrix officially opens the dam and utters the word: de stormvloedkering is gesloten, de Delta Werken zijn voltooid, Zeeland is veilig. It now has a yearly running cost of around 70 million euros, which is a snip compared to the cost of the flood damage we've seen around the world. In 2007, alarm bells began to ring across the region for the first time. The Delta Works protection system went into full operation, with all the storm barriers and the dams closing together to protect the Dutch, and it totally worked. The Dutch government has assessed that the country must plan a 1.3 meter rise of the North Sea by 2200. So that's it then. One of the 7 wonders of the modern world. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. You can find the sources on our website in the description down below.